Welcome to the Marketing Mentor Podcast with Ilise Benun, founder of marketing-mentor.com and author of 7 books, including The Creative Professional's Guide to Money. Since 2008, Ilise has been interviewing her clients and other successful professional creatives who are doing what it takes to stop the feast or famine syndrome, get better clients, and command the fees they deserve, and sharing the nuts and bolts of what they've learned so you can do it too. You can find more at marketing-mentor.com. And now, here's Ilise Benun.
I can tell you from experience that one of the most challenging aspects of being self-employed is the financial roller coaster of unpredictable income. It took me a while, but over my almost 30 years in business, I've gotten used to the hustle required to make sure my pipeline is full, which is one of the ways to even out the cash flow. Riding the highs and lows of variable income is an issue for Dianna Huff and her very clearly and well-positioned Huff Industrial Marketing, whose tagline is Strategic Marketing for Manufacturers. Dianna isn't a financial guru. She's a freelancer who was trying to get a handle on her own finances. She read all the books, but she couldn't find the help she needed because they're written for salaried employees with fixed and predictable income, not for freelancers. So she wrote her own, and it's just been released. This is Ilise Benun of marketing-mentor.com, and in Dianna's new guide, Cash Flow for Freelancers, and in our recent podcast interview, Dianna shares how she approached her own business to get clarity on the information she needed, how she improved her cash flow, and which metrics she tracks regularly to make sure she stays in control of her business. Listen, and then try it out for yourself. Hello, Dianna. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Dianna Huff, and I'm the president of Huff Industrial Marketing, and I help small industrial manufacturers market, grow, and succeed.
And what else do you do?
Well, I'm also the co-producer of Thoughtful Books in partnership with my colleague Rachel Cunliffe, who's the principal of Created Design. She's a WordPress designer. And we started Thoughtful Books early in 2015. And we're developing guides, courses, and other things for people who want solid, practical information that lacks hype.
Okay, and we're here specifically today because you're working on a book about cash flow. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm working on a new guide called Cash Flow for Freelancers. And basically, it helps you learn how to analyze your own cash flow and so that you can ride the highs and lows of variable income. Because as freelancers, we work project to project. Work can come in, you can get a lot of it, and then you're really, really busy, and then you don't have any work, and you may not have income coming in while you're waiting for more work to come in. So the freelancer income can be very variable, and I think Ed Gandia said it best, it's volatile. So I too, even though I've been in business for a long time, I've always experienced this variable income and wanted to try and figure it out. How could I make it so I could ride these highs and lows? What was I doing wrong that maybe I could fix? And was there even a way to make it more predictable? And if not, what could I do to help cushion myself? So that's the basis of the guide.
All right, so let's talk about some of those things. Maybe let's start with a definition for those people who may not be quite sure what cash flow is. What is it, and how is it different from the other things people might confuse cash flow with?
Yep. So cash flow is simply the flow of cash in and out of your business. So cash comes in through the payment of goods and services. And this is for any business, not just freelancers. And it goes out through paying employees, paying yourself, and then also the expenses associated with your business. So cash flow, it's not the same as receiving a regular paycheck when you are an employee of a business. When you're an employee, you receive a paycheck, and if you're salaried, usually you get the same amount at set up times each month. So your income is very predictable. When you're self-employed, your income is unpredictable. And this is because you have to do all the things an employer does for you. So when you work, when you're an employee, you just get a check, and someone else is doing all the other functions, or other people are doing all the functions associated with the business, namely bringing in the work so employees can get paid, or selling the products so employees can get paid. But when you're a freelancer, you have to do this yourself. So you have to create the products or services to sell. You have to build the sales pipeline. You have to sell the products or services, and then you have to collect on the payment of those products or services. And associated with those products or services are expenses. So you have to pay those. And, sales can be highly unpredictable, and income or revenue can be highly unpredictable. So for freelancers who work project to project, your income can be variable because projects can take 30, 60, 90 days or even more. Projects get canceled. Sales fall through. I don't know about you, but I've had prospects call, and they're all hot and heavy, and they want to get, we got to get this going. We're really excited about this project, and then you do a proposal, and then nothing. You hear nothing, and then you call back and you follow up, and you find out 3, 4, 5 weeks later, oh, well, we decided not to do that. You lose clients through no fault of your own. I mean, there are all different things associated with why your income can be variable. And this really is for all companies, no matter what size of company. All companies deal with cash flow issues of one sort or another.
And now my business is an S Corp, and I get a salary from the business. So does that solve my cash flow problem?
No, because I'm an S Corp too, and I pay myself too. I pay myself a set amount each month. But if I don't have the cash that month, or if I don't have enough cash, then I can't pay myself that set amount.
So what suggestions do you have, first of all, to make the roller coaster a little bit less swervy?
There are a number of different things you can do. You can make products, but again, making the product, you still have to sell the products. That's almost like having a whole separate business. So you have to market it, you have to sell it. You can do that. You can do retainer fees. A lot of people do that as a way to help alleviate some of this up and down income. You can become more efficient. So that's one of the things I'm working on. So I do project-based work, and I've been working very hard in the last 18 months to make my process much more efficient so I can work faster, so I can get paid faster. The problem with all of these things, so there's a tendency in our head to think, well, I can do X, Y, Z, and therefore my business will become very predictable. However, there's a lot of unpredictability, or a lot of irrational stuff that can happen in a business. So, for example, I had a client. She paid like clockwork every single month, very reliable. And then the state came in and did an inspection of her business, pulled her license. One day, I had this wonderful, like clockwork client. The next day, that income was gone. Poof. I mean, literally 24 hours. A colleague of mine also had a very nice ongoing gig with a company. And she got the call one day, our company's being bought, our business unit has been cut, the project is gone. So yes, you can do various things to make your income predictable. But again, at any time, that income can go away for various reasons.
And, an asteroid can hit the planet and we'll all be gone.
Well, yes, there is that. But what I'm really saying is, yes, you can do things to help make your cash flow a little more steady, but there are things that happen that you can't just say, okay, it's going to be this way forever, because it's not.
And I think, what I'm pointing to is the illusion of security,
Yes.
no matter what. And, frankly, when people have a salary or a job, that's just one big fat client who could fire you at any moment.
Exactly. Yes. I'm so glad you said the illusion of security, because having a job, it's funny, Contently, that site Contently, they have a survey, and I forget what the exact percentage was, but it was almost like it was over a third or maybe close to a half of the people who took the survey said they would take a job if it were offered to them. And I wondered if they said that because they wanted that security of getting a paycheck, because when you're self-employed, you really have to get this gut stomach to ride these highs and lows of income variability, and some people can't handle it. And so they think that having a job will give them this steady paycheck, but it isn't. It's an illusion. Just like having a retainer client is an illusion.
Although it's perhaps a better illusion.
Yes. I
than
had another one too, that he was another one, just like clockwork. And one day he called, he was in real estate, and he said, due to the crash, I just went bankrupt.
Mhm.
So, so yes, but I mean, of course you can try and work to make sure that you can even out your cash flow.
And tell me a little bit your thoughts about the connection between cash flow and pricing.
The connection between cash flow and pricing, I believe, is really based on your break even. So when I say break even, one of the things that I did when I first started analyzing my own cash flow was I realized I didn't really know how much money I needed to bring in each month, which sounds kind of silly. But what I had been doing was just looking at, well, here's how much money I made for the quarter, or here's how much money I made last year, and taking an average amount and saying, well, okay, I need to bring in X amount of dollars each month. But I really didn't have an idea of what my break even is. And by break even, I mean your personal plus your business expenses. What is the bare minimum you need to bring in each month to cover those expenses? So your business expenses, they have to pay each month, plus the expenses that you pay annually, like your web hosting. And if say you pay $200 a year for web hosting, that's $16 a month. So that's part of your break even, plus your personal expenses. So you have to find out, what is your break even? What do I need to bring in each month? If you don't know that, then you really don't know if your prices are low or if you need to raise them or what have you. It could be that you need, based on your break even, you need to change how or when you invoice.
Okay, wait, before you go to that, let's just talk about a little bit about this not knowing what your break even point is, because I suspect that a lot of people out there don't know. And as you said, it may be kind of silly, but I, hear a lot of the secrets from creative people who tell me their dirty, dark secrets. And often it is, I really don't know how much I need to bring in.
Right.
And I was thinking
and I'm
about
one of
it.
them. I mean,
Right.
I was, not
Yeah.
anymore.
And it just makes me wonder, like, why? What is it that happens? Because I know that, as things start to slow down, that's exactly when you should be focusing more on how much you need to bring in. But I see people ignoring it even more at those moments when,
Yes.
when things start to slow down.
Yes. So, well, so do you want me to answer the question of why do you think people might not know what their break even is?
I don't know if the why, I mean, I think it's different for each person, but what I'm curious about is how people can resolve that problem. If they can figure out why they are ignoring it, what should they be doing instead?
Oh, well, first off, you basically have to do an analysis of where your money is going. I mean, I know that's one of those things that you see in these in every single personal finance book. They tell you analyze where your money's going, but they usually do it in terms of, well, now you got to make a budget, and everybody groans on that one. Oh, budget. Oh, don't tell me how to spend my money. So what I did was I went through and analyzed where is all my money going, and just put things into categories. And I just sort of monitored it for a few months. And there were lots of things that I was missing. So we have, annual expenses, and you forget about them. It could be, your web hosting, your insurance, whatever you get. Like I use LifeLock, they charge once a year, or my mailbox rental, it gets billed once a year. And so you tend to forget about those. And then they usually come due at the most inopportune times. You don't have the cash, so you stick it on a credit card, and then you forget about it. And then you get this debt creep. And then on top of that, we have a lot of, there's a lot of spending that goes on, because today, we can buy so many things online that you can just go click, 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 and you spend money, and you're sort of not even aware of it anymore. And I notice now too, when I go to make purchases and I use my debit card, they'll say, "Oh, do you need a receipt?" And a lot of people don't even take the receipt anymore, because you can automatically import your charges, your debit charges, or expenses, or whatever you want to call them, your transactions. They get imported directly into applications now, like Quicken or QuickBooks or Xero or something like that. So there's a lot of lack of clarity about where our money is going. And so that was the first thing I did, was look at, well, where is all this money going? So for example, I realized I was spending over $100 a month on ebooks and applications, apps for my phone. So I stopped that immediately because I was trying to arrive at this break-even number. And I realized, wow, the higher my break-even is, the harder I have to work to bring in work. I got to get this thing down. So that's where I started.
Okay. And so if someone wanted to analyze their own cash flow, what suggestions do you have?
Well, if you use an application such as Xero or Quicken, if you are good about putting in your transactions, you should have all that information by category. So you can look at various categories. And so what I did basically was just paper and pencil. I just started writing down, okay, for insurance, I have my auto insurance, I have my disability insurance, all the homeowners insurance, whatever, all these various insurances. Here's how and some of them I didn't even know what I was paying. And so here's how much I'm paying. Here's when it's due. Here's now, so if I have to pay, say, $400 a year, divide that by 12, this is how much I need to pay each month, or I have to set aside money each month. So that's what I did. I went through every single transaction category, expense, and just figured out what am I paying, and then divided that amount by 12. Or if it was weekly, times that I would multiply it by 52 and then divide by 12. I tried to come up with a monthly amount for everything, so that and I did that for personal and I did that for business, so that I would have two numbers that I could add together, which became my break even.
Okay, and then what do you do once you have your break even?
Well, then now I know where I stand. So let's just say your break even is $10,000 a month. So in addition to my break even, I also have a monthly sales goal, and I have a monthly income goal. And the income is break even plus some padding, because I want to make more than break even, because you have long-term goals. Maybe you have debt you need to pay off. Break even is just the bare minimum you need to make to get, to pay your expenses and live. So I have my break-even number, I have my monthly sales goal, and I have my monthly income goal. So let's say my break-even is $10,000. Well, if I've only brought in $5,000 worth of cash and it's the 15th of the month, well, where in the heck is that other $5,000 going to come from? Do I have outstanding receivables I need to bring in? Do I have prospects in the pipeline, sales that I can close? Are they getting near closing? So, because if I close something, then I can bring in the deposit. Is there something, what am I going to do to make sure that I make my break even? But focusing on break even is just not enough, because you also have to make sure that you're focused on sales. So in addition to my break even, I have a sales goal that I try to meet each month, and I don't meet it every month, but I'm always working toward it. And so sales is what drives future income. So if you're not consistently closing sales, then in future months, you're not going to be able to hit break even or your monthly cash goal.
So if my break even is 10,000 and my income goal is what? At 20%?
You could do that, or you could say, I'm going to make my monthly income goal 12,000. Whatever it feels comfortable to you. Some people are more ambitious, or want to. What I would say, just do what feels comfortable for you, because some people get scared by numbers. I read this guy once who said people have fear of zeros. So,
all right, but let's say
you could do 12,000.
Okay,
yes.
So we're adding 20%, which is essentially profit.
Yeah.
And then, but what's the difference between the sales goal and the income goal? That's confusing.
Yes. So the sales goal is. It's basically what you say you want to, I say make your sales goal a little higher than your break-even goal. So it could be, say, 15,000. So, because if you made your sales goal just your break-even, the funny thing is about goals, you only make what your goal is. So I always try to make mine a little higher, so that then I'm bringing in more income. So if your sales goal, say your break-even is 10,000, your sales goal is 15, and you bring in two $7,500 gigs, depending on what your terms are. So I always ask for 50% up front. So that's what, $3,750 times 2. So that's income for your current month, and it's income for future months. So you constantly have to make sure you're making your sales goal so that you're bringing in this income in the future as well as in the current month. Does that make sense?
It does, and it aligns with one of the things I often say, which is that your current client work, whatever people are paying you to do, is your present, and your marketing is your future. And most people think their current paying client work is the priority. But if you don't do your marketing, then there's not going to be any in the future.
Right. That's exactly what I address in the book, in the guide, is and I know I've fallen prey to this too. You get really busy, you get sucked into a new big fun project, you lose track of your marketing, you lose track of your sales, and then you resurface once the project is done and you don't have any work. And you have only 2 weeks of cash or whatever, and now you're scrambling. And so I read somewhere, someone said, you should be marketing the hardest when you're the busiest. But we all tend to do it the opposite way. We start marketing when we don't have any work.
Right. Good. All right. So tell people where they can find more information about your book and you.
Oh, well, the book, Cash Flow for Freelancers, it's available at Gumroad.com. So the URL is https as in Sam /gumroad.com/thoughtful books.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Dianna. It was really good to speak with you about this. It's important.
Thank you for having me as your guest.
Thanks again to Dianna Huff and her co-author, Rachel Cunliffe, for their new guide, Cash Flow for Freelancers, and for sharing what they've learned. You can find details at gumroad.com/thoughtfulbooks. This is Ilise Benun of marketing-mentor.com. And if you like what you hear and want more, go to the website and sign up for my new free course. And I'll be back again soon with more.
Thanks for listening. Now go try out what you've learned. If you like what you hear, you can go to marketing-mentor.com and sign up for Ilise's quick tips from Marketing Mentor and her free 30-minute mentoring session to get your burning questions answered. Check out what's on sale in the Marketing Mentor shop, like the Pick a Niche Kit, proposal bundles for designers and copywriters, and the 30 Minutes a Day marketing plan. Ilise is also the host of the How Design Live podcast, a programming partner for How Design Live, the largest design conference, and you can learn all about that at howdesignlive.com. Until next time.